good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I say all three because whether you are joining us live or later on demand, we want to welcome you to the very first 2023 session of the Insight webinar series. We are so excited to bring an all-star team together with you to talk personally while spotlighting Panther Premium Logistics, the service of ArcBest, and expanding on our Starting Your Own Trucking Business series with truck ownership opportunities at ES, where in 2023, it is all about you and Panther. My name is Leah Shaver. I will serve as host and moderator of our conversation. I do want to thank all of you for your part in keeping our country moving. Thank you to those of you who work from sun up to sunset and all the time before, after, and in between, especially taking the time to join us today. As professional truck drivers continue to deliver necessities across North America, I am cheering for you. I worry about you. I hope the best for you. And today, we are so happy to connect with you. It's an extraordinary time to be in the transportation industry, especially as a small business owner. And I am very excited for today's discussion and to introduce you to our panelists. Before I do that, and as we give you a moment to join us, I'm going to share a couple of notes about the webinar. First of all, the Insight 2023 online series is being presented by Expedite Services. ES is a leader in capacity solutions and ownership opportunities. ES is pleased to have Stoops Freightliner serve as the title sponsor for the Insight 2023 series. Now, our webinar series is only one part of the Insight. We are also producing the Insight 2023 podcast series. Through the podcast, we offer listeners an in-depth look at key issues and opportunities in the trucking industry. To listen to the series, to get the latest news on the Insight 2023, please visit successintrucking.com. Now, I want to introduce you to our expert panel. In this edition of the Insight 2023 webinar series from Expedite Services, we are going to explore how comprehensive support and the services that trucking business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs receive as part of the ES community, along with an operational partnership with Panther Premium Logistics, which ensures that you will never stand alone. Some brief intros. I am Leah Shaver. I own and operate the National Transportation Institute. We serve information and support to folks that employ or contract with professional drivers and work with companies that do. I also serve on the board of directors of the Next Generation in Trucking Association. I work as a talk radio host on SiriusXM's Road Dog Trucking Radio. And in addition to when I fill in for full-time hosts, you can catch me the first Thursday of every month from 11 to 2 Eastern for Payday with Leah Shaver on Road Dog Live, bringing you more important discussions just like we're going to have today, but live for your midday drive. I have a couple of goals to share with you today. I am really excited to offer you an inside look at the programs and the support that ES and Panther Premium Logistics have firmly established to position trucking entrepreneurs for success. We are going to meet with our panelists and with you and find out more about the commitment that ES and Panther have made through the executive level throughout their organizations to support professional drivers. We're going to spotlight those opportunities that are available in the non-traditional lease purchase program through a program with Panther Premium Logistics, a service of ArcBest, and we have developed that in collaboration with ES. Now, we've got some key heavy hitters to put in front of you today, and I'd say by the end of our time together, you will be sure that in their capable partnered hands, we are going to show you why now is the time, and this is your year for your new business. Jason Williams, the co-founder and CEO of Expedite Services, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Lee, and we appreciate you having us and you hosting this, and glad to have, obviously, David here with us.
And speaking of David, we've got David Kessler, the Vice President of Expedite Fleet and Operations at ArcBest.
Hey, Leah, thanks for that intro. You're getting me kind of all jazzed up by just listening to your intro. I'm excited about this webinar, and so I'm ready to get going.
That's the goal, right? We want to offer a positive and what was the word you used? Jazzed up experience, right? And I guess that's my job. So speaking of my job, though, I want to know more about your jobs. I think that our viewers are not strangers to either of your extraordinary organizations, but I want to make sure that they know exactly who we are and what we do. I've introed myself, Jason, as our host on behalf of ES. Let's start with you. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm Jason Williams, and one of the co-founders here at ES. Paul, my father, was the other co-founder. And what we do here, what I do, honestly, is try to serve the people in the building as they serve the people in the trucks. And you try to look for ways to problem solve, bring needed products, thoughts, ideas, conversations like today, and talented, individuals like Lee and David here, in order to help generate activity within the industry for truck owners and make sure that we're creating truck ownership that's real and profitable, regardless if it's peak season or down season, regardless of the freight cycles, recognizing that these businesses have to be generational, year in, year out, from one person to the next, trucks changing, those types of things. So that's what I do. That's what we do. And I'm just a piece of, obviously, the puzzle. But that's our focus all day, every day, is how can we make life in the truck better, more profitable, more stable.
So support from the truck up, is that fair to say?
Absolutely. We like to say that, we're a pyramid turned upside down. The tip of our spear is the individual in the truck. Are they stable? Are they in all phases of their life, mentally, emotionally, financially? Do they have the support they need to succeed? And you try to service the whole person and the whole business.
Okay, very good. David, tell us about overseeing operations at ArcBest, who you are and what you do. And of course, when I say you, I mean the fine folks that you are working with.
The greater you. Yes,
the greater you.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction, Leah. I loved your opening on the focus on small business owners, just the sun up to sundown reference of the hardworking folks in this industry. So I loved all that. So I'll be digging into that later.
Now you know why I've got a fan base.
Yes, I love it. Well, it's true, and that's the key. But I like Jason's analogy of the upside down triangle. And so if mine is a normal shaped triangle, then, we touch, and where do we touch? We touch at the small business owner, the owner operator, we touch at the truck. And, that's a key important factor to think through as we move forward here. But so, yes, I'm the vice president of Expedite and fleet and operations at ArcBest. But who's ArcBest? If you're not familiar with us, we're a $5 billion integrated logistics company that leverages our full suite of logistics solutions to meet the most critical needs of our customers each and every day. And some keywords there, when I think integrated logistics solutions, what ArcBest does is we certainly have expedite capacity. That's what, I do best. We also have truckload, LTL, dedicated, and being able to leverage all of these services to support our customer base in the best way possible that meets their needs is how we're able to grow and how we've seen a lot of growth over the last few years, and we'll continue to grow in the years to come. So, you think about our position in the market as a kind of a trusted advisor to the world's biggest and most recognizable name brands. And, our role at ArcBest is to, provide the solutions, and in my case, provide expedite capacity to their supply chains to make them run as efficiently and smoothly as possible. And, there's so much value in having a healthy supply chain, streamlined supply chain, and expedite plays a vital component to keep that running. And, that's why it's such a great opportunity that we're talking about today, is to be able to become a small business owner and have your capacity at the tip of the spear, I think Jason mentioned, to the needs of some of the largest, most recognizable name brands in the industry. And, that's the value that ArcBest brings, and that's certainly the value of partnering with Panther brings. So, you can kind of see the foundation building here of my pyramid, and as it touches with Jason, which creates this fantastic partnership and opportunity to some great folks in this industry to become small business owners and, become profitable small business owners and, help keep our global supply chain running.
David, you may have just answered this quite broadly, and at the risk of you having to repeat yourself, if I were to say, come to Panther, here's why, is it that $5 billion number? Is it those partnerships that you talked about? We're talking about small businesses, and as Jason, delivered at ES, we're looking to meet from the truck up. How do we narrow that down to impact me as I'm interested in starting my new business this year?
That is a great question, and there's so many different ways to answer it. But one of the key fundamentals of ArcBest, and this is where we're very much in alignment with ES and with Jason, is our relationship, ArcBest, are built off of trust. And that's one of the key components of why I wanted to work with Jason to build this program we're talking about today, a very transparent lease purchase offering to get small business owners, the folks, the hardworking men and women in the country who have the entrepreneurial spirit, get them in a truck that they own and they can drive themselves. But the industry is difficult to find a partner that you can trust. And so it was important to me to build this model, support this industry in a way that you can come to me, come to Jason, and say, I trust these guys. I trust what they do. I trust this program that'll lead me to be successful. And to me, at every question here will start with trust. And we built this program off of it. And our relationship with Expeditors is going on, what is it, Jason, 15, 20 years? What did we talk about yesterday? And that's built off trust, right? So the entry conversation to get you in the door here is, can I trust these guys, to sign the line, to embark on my dream of being a small business owner? And the answer is yes, you can trust us. So we built this program off of the concept of trust.
Not to step ahead to next month, but we just talked about our February webinar today, and because it's on Valentine's Day, it's all about love in that webinar. And I said, I want to ask, are you feeling the love? And that's essentially what you're saying. Do you feel like you're partnering with someone that you can trust? And certainly with the leaders of these organizations here, they're telling us that their relationship is built on trust. So likewise, Jason, same type of question from ES, similar question with ES, you never stand alone. Tell us how that is.
Well, if you take the ownership opportunity that we're really driving forward here for the next, 12 to 18 months, and we're committed to both at the Panther side and the ES side. What people don't know is that there was a 14-month beta test before that, where David and his team had a question and said, look, can we try something a little different? And we said, well, hey, we finance, here's how we do things. And to their credit, their group was, yeah, but can we look at doing it a little more aggressive? Can we look at broadening the scope? Can we look at tweaking it to give more people an opportunity? And so we said, well, let's try. And for 14 months, we put trucks in, and David and his team supported with freight and recruiting and trying to put these small businesses together. And we stopped about so that started in midsummer 2021, midsummer 2022. We said, let's look backwards and say that it worked. And both sides said, you know what, it worked. Let's tweak a few things. And we got comfortable. So trust, it's one thing, Leah, to tell people, so we finance, we deal with money. So when people come in and say, trust me, I don't have blind faith in many things. And so when somebody wants to come in and pitch me an idea and just say, trust me, my flags go up when they don't want to put facts on the table. But what they do need to understand, and David alluded to it, this is 15 plus years of experience with each other. A 14-month beta test where ES put, $2-3 million worth of equipment in to beta test it. David put people into it, and Panther came in with marketing, recruiting, and freight and things to look at, say, this market's changing. How do we make sure we're doing this on a good foundation? And we did that for 14 months. This was not a meeting where we negotiate a deal and hammer it out and come to the market. We tested for 14 months and said, okay, our group believes in it. I believe in it. My recruiters believe in it. My service coordinators believe in it. My finance team believes in it. Our truck dealers believe in it. David's team believes in it. His, the legal, the finance people, the accounting people, the dispatch, everybody looked at it and said, no, this works and it's real at the truck level. Therefore, let's move forward. So the trust that we are wanting to build with people is built upon, we've led with our chin. Both sides have put money into this to say, can we make this work? We're not guinea pigging anybody. We're no longer in any type of a testing phase. We feel very confident about it, and we are putting our money where our mouth is. So that's a real opportunity. And that's the way we do business. And to be honest with you, that's the way Panther has historically done business. We test, we prove, then we go to market. And that proves to be, if there's anybody that's going to lose money, ES will lose money, Panther will lose money in those testing periods. And then you say, okay, it's a real opportunity or it's not. If it is, let's get behind it and move forward. That's what we really would want to make sure people understand. This is not trying to put lipstick on a pig, like we say down here in the South. This is a real opportunity, and it truly is to create ownership opportunities, small businesses that are stable for that individual. And it's proven itself. It's proven itself, honestly, on a shifting market. It's stable enough that it's proven itself, even with the market rates, freight, after COVID, whatever people want to call it. These businesses continue to generate, they continue to come into being and operate. And so all the work we put into it is proven that this is a very viable option, even when there's unknowns involved.
I do want to talk about the market, but before we segue to that, I just want to clarify that in terms of ownership opportunity, in terms of beta testing, you're referring to what I mentioned in the beginning, which is a non-traditional lease purchase option, correct?
That is correct. Yeah. So where we try to say, can we, first of all, we need good people. This is not, and I don't want to be too aggressive, but this is not a welfare option. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This is not a come in here and don't do anything and you're going to overnight, poof, there's an opportunity. What we're saying is there are a lot of hardworking people in this industry, especially on this market, who are getting hammered with banks pulling in their credit lines, cost of everything's going up, rates are falling on low boards, things of that nature, who need a place to come in, a community, a safe harbor to generate a real opportunity. And they can come in with hard work and succeed. And it's real. It is a real opportunity, and we have tested it for years. But even in what we're currently doing and the tweaks we made, we even tested that for 14 months before we came to market with it. So we're very confident in what we're doing and the reality of it.
David, having been in operations for as long as you have, when both of you refer to this as a non-traditional lease purchase program, anything stand out to you in particular about being non-traditional?
Well, it certainly does. And, you think non-traditional, unfortunately, the lease purchase market, doesn't really have, hasn't built up that sense of trust I talked about earlier. And you mentioned my, being in operations for going on 19, 20 years. I've worked all over the country, East Coast, West Coast, North, into the South. And the folks like you referenced earlier, Leah, in this industry are some of the hardest working men and women in America, I've ever seen. Most of us work 40 hours. A lot of these folks are pushing 60 hours a week. They're always on the road. And then when you think, I want to go out there and become a small business owner, finding that program, that partner, that pieces all these various components together for you in a way that you can trust, that doesn't take advantage of you, that's fair and it's very transparent. Putting all those things together, to me, that's what transparent means. And that's what's important for me to build. One that, I was confident to stand behind, put our name behind, that I knew that if owner operator, if a small business owner were signing their name on this, it was fair. And all these components that are important to think through, and your maintenance and your how often you run and insurance and all these various components can be confusing. It's all taken care of for you. And that's a great benefit of partnering with, folks like ES and Jason, who have done this for so long. So there's a lot to that, Leah. Hopefully I answered your question, but
you did.
That kind of brings it all together. And to me, that's what makes it non-traditional.
Let's talk about the freight market now. That's your area of expertise, but I would imagine that Jason and even I, though it's not my opinion today that really matters, have some feedback and perspective to share. But I've often heard Jason say that in a program of supporting small businesses, that actually having the support of the ES community can actually shine brighter when there's a storm, right? Some greater shelter from the storm. And I'm sure he'll say it better since it's his quote, and we'll ask him that after. But there's a lot of question and doom and gloom in terms of the market. And again, since it's not my opinion that matters today, what say you to someone who's considering starting their new and small business in a year where the market is not quite as sure as it was in 2022?
Sure. Very fair question. I've been in logistics, like I mentioned, 19 going on 20 years. ArcBest is a 100-year-old organization this year. And over the span of 100 years, over the span of my career, we've seen every cycle play out. Every cycle has a beginning and an end, and it starts again. And you mentioned it earlier in the webinar, Leah, where you said, there's no, or now is as good as any time, or now is a great time. And I think with the right partnership and the right program, any time is certainly a good time. And you think about the value of a partnership with an organization like ArcBest and Panther. When I mentioned before that, we provide solutions and value to some of the largest, most recognizable brands in the industry. Logistics solutions, logistics value. Those aren't relationships that come in and come out. Long-term relationships. And so, there should be some.
David might have lost your audio. So Jason, similar question. And again, I know I prefaced it probably botching your quote, but though I really feel that while there's some unsurety in the market, it's still, relatively strong. But there's certainly a lot of safe haven and peace of mind that comes with working with a large company like Panther, while also having the support and services through a partnership with ES. What say you on the market right now, and really where your company can shine, if I can put those words in your mouth?
Sure. Well, I guess on any market, Leah, what I would say is, if I knew what the market was and where it was going, we say this all the time, we would sell the company and go play in the stock markets and buy and sell commodities. What I will say in markets in general is that good companies, good capacity, good workers, people with good work ethic, honestly, they find a way to take advantage of opportunity in any market. We were growing in 08 and 09. We were growing in 2019 when the trucking industry got hit so hard right before COVID. We grew through COVID, even in early 2020. So does the freight affect things? Absolutely. But what we typically find, to be honest with you, is that a bad freight market, what it really does is take out the weak players. I'm not telling you good people can't get caught in a bad area, but I'm telling you hardworking folks who are creative and nimble, as most small trucking companies are, especially when you're talking about, 1, 2, 3 truck owners, they find a way to get ahead. And so we're not afraid of a market. Now, would we like it to always be great rates and great freight? Absolutely. It makes things easy. But that typically, we have to actually be careful, because that lets sometimes people who aren't as good, the high tide lifts all ships. And at times we have to be more careful in the great markets, because you can't really know who people are. We are more confident on the down markets because you get to see people for who they are. They get to see us for who we are. And it does highlight what we do, to the point you made in this. We don't sell freight and we don't dispatch freight. That's why we need a partner like Panther to come in and provide that service. And they do that very well, that environment to have good, stable rates, good, stable freight. Are there cycles? Sure, but your legs don't get cut out from underneath you. And we need that, and they provide that for us. What we bring to the table is the stability on the other side. Do you have buying power for insurance, for trucks, for fuel, shop, tires? Do you have anybody to talk through as far as how you're handling your cash flow? Or is there things you need to be planning for as far as upgrades and taxes? And there's lots of things we do that are non-freight related that any good trucking company needs. And what we know is that if you're a single owner operator, whether you're a solo or a team, you're probably great at several things. You're probably not great at everything. I know I'm not. So I have a team of people here who I hire who fill in my weaknesses. That's really what we talk about, a partnership. We're not going to get in the truck and drive it for you. We're not going to try to tell you how to take freight. I mean, you're a professional. These people are professional. They're good at what they do. They've proven themselves. What we will do, though, is help you plan ahead or on your next truck upgrade, help you plan through, is there anything coming that you need to be doing cash management for? Are there any changes you need to be prepared for? Do you need support? We have people here all day, every day, who are just here to support the person beyond supporting the business. So there's lots of things that a business needs to move forward, and we do that. One thing I would like to roll back, if I can, is just, on that why we call it a non-traditional lease purchase. And I know David answered that very well. From our view, the one thing we would like to add is the stability of it. ES and Panther will only be profitable if it's stable capacity. We have not set this thing up whereby we can make money with churn. And I'm not putting anybody else down. I'm not trying to throw, eggs at anybody else's program, but we know the industry. And if there's turnover, if there's failure in the ownership piece of it, ES goes out of business. And that's just the truth of it. And we've done that on purpose. We set ourselves up on purpose. That way it keeps us very focused. Everybody in my office only gets a paycheck if the small businesses we service stay in business. And we're only profitable if they're profitable. So I'm telling you, it's on purpose, but we're very focused on that fact. And that is a fact. And that stability that's needed is a major difference in what we're doing in a financing option, what Panther's doing as far as partnering in order to drive stability. Major difference.
Though you didn't ask me, and it was posed to the crew here, I did have some of David's team on last month, and one thing that was also shared that we all agreed on is that ultimately, you said it very directly, but another way of looking at it is that oftentimes folks in a traditional, what has been traditional lease purchase program in the industry, there's the pyramid at the, to use the same expression, the money is kind of taken off at the top, and whatever scraps left at the end are what's thrown out to that owner. Who really doesn't have the capability or the outcome of owning the truck. And so that's another key component here, is that there really is that opportunity. Yes.
Absolutely. The equity in the truck is built every month. Now you can get into details of, of traditional financing versus leases and how you charge things. But the fact of the matter is that the people are building equity into the truck when they're prepared and ready to buy that truck and flip it from a lease to a purchase. The mechanism from doing that, they're buying it at payoff values. We're not taking it back to a market value and trying to make $20,000, $30,000 on the sale of the truck. Even to that point, Lee, I can tell you that as an organization, we buy trucks, and I can't disclose numbers because obviously I'm under, non-competes with my dealers, but we're buying trucks, $30,000, $35,000 off retail because we buy in volume. Well, somebody who comes in here and buys one truck under this program will buy as if they're buying the same 200, 300, 400 trucks a year that we're buying. We're not trying to layer up cost on top of cost on top of cost, and therefore suck the profits out. We're trying to give them a truck with buying power, fuel with buying power, tires with buying power. David just shared with you, they're negotiating freight as a $5 billion company and then passing profits through on the freight side. The intent of this is completely different. And every time I get to share it, I was with a group of motor carriers, dealers, some of the largest financial people in the world, international banks were down there. And when they finally got around to my turn to say, what do y'all do? And I shared with them this program, what we're doing with ArcBest and Panther and ES. And I'm telling you, I got a crowd around me and said, we've never heard of that, because they were bragging about how they made their money, which was really, and I'm not naming names, but it was really just how do you take it out of the truck and how do you keep it from getting down to the truck level? Whereas we're the exact opposite. We partnered up to say, if there's not stability at the truck level, we're fooling ourselves, drive profit to the truck. And for that reason, we need good people. We need good, hardworking people that we can partner with. We need to trust them as much as they trust us. It needs to be a partnership that way as well. We don't want to blow this up by bringing in people who honestly don't value it or don't want to work towards it. We need people who say, I'm real, I'm willing to show up and work. If ES is real, if Panther is real, and we're willing to prove ourselves. And again, just trying to find folks who need that opportunity.
So, Jason, let's go ahead and stay with buying power then, because you have the mic and I want to ask you the question. Another component that is quite helpful to someone in a non-traditional lease purchase program is having that safety net of ES behind them, in front of them, underneath, whatever direction we're looking at. There's also buying power and maybe just in general the peace of mind of insurance, of maintenance, of safety components and training. Talk a little bit about the other aspects of the ES community that really help augment a small business owner's experience, because it ultimately saves them money.
Absolutely. We say that, in trucking, if you get caught chasing dollars, you can go out of business quick. You better be watching pennies. And we all know that when you're doing 10,000 miles a month or 20,000 miles a month, every penny starts adding up. So we do take that buying power, and we've got a great community of vendors, and our vendors have been with us, most of them 15 plus years, and they've bought in on this idea, and they aggressively support it with whatever they bring to the table, whether it be legal, safety, again, fuel shop tires, the truck itself, whatever it happens to be. It's not just a feel good, Lee. It's a different way of doing business. And when people touch us and start doing business with us, they all walk away saying, we like this. We like the way you service. We like the way you put our products into the market. They know that we're not scrubbing discounts off of them. We're not trying to, take their price reduction, mark it back up and make the spread ourselves. And we give visibility to our vendors and to our buyers. So our buyers have visibility. If they're buying something through our community, they have visibility to see what was it sold at, what did I pay for it. So, we're not trying to layer up that cost on them, all for the reason of stability. It's we're seeing it, whether it be interest rates increasing nationwide. Again, cost of trucks are up 15-20% over the last 2 or 3 years. Tires have seemed to have jumped up 30-40%. Those are real numbers. And we're able to keep a lot of that cost out because of the buying power. We are servicing a large community. We are one of the largest buying powers in the country on a lot of those products. And we do pass those discounts through all the way down to the truck level. And we do allow visibility so they can know we do that. But it's an intent. It's driven from intent level. And again, it all goes to substantiate when we finance. When we finance, we need stability. We do not want to scrub discounts on products and then undermine our financing arrangement. And it would be crazy for us to make money on this product or that product and get a truck back. We're only profitable if the person in the truck is profitable and continues to operate that truck and grows and themselves moves forward. So, but we have to stay honest on that. There's a lot of greed in our industry, and we have to keep that off the table.
Can we talk about equipment availability? This is also a challenge that a lot of folks are experiencing. And you mentioned, great pricing. How great is the equipment availability, and maybe in tandem with that, specific to the non-traditional lease purchase program?
Well, when David wanted to expand this lease purchase option, first of all, there was no equipment. And so the first conversation was with David. It's work. We have a handful of trucks in this, and it's worked well, but I don't know where we're going to get the equipment. And so we did have to go out to our dealers, and whether it be Stoops or our local, honestly, a new partner that we've been able to work with very closely is Dobbs Peterbilt out of Memphis. So we've been able to work with Stoops and Dobbs, who are our main suppliers at this point, and say, hey, look, what can we do to get some equipment? And they both went to the OEMs, the manufacturers, and was able to bring the idea. And here's where ArcBest as a partner was able to really help, solidify that, hey, this is a real request. This is not ES just saying we want a bunch of trucks, because everybody who is financing right now or selling trucks or is in trucking would take more trucks. You either need to upgrade or you need to grow. And so how did we get in front of the market? Well, it was the whole beta test. It was the last year's worth of effort to grow this thing and build it out that we were able to take to our dealer network and say, can y'all help us? And again, our vendor network came in and said, absolutely. And they're supplying us with the trucks. Well, we have the trucks that we need to support this program. I would dare say for at least the next 6 months, it would take a enormous volume to offset the amount of trucks we have access to. And again, it was leveraging David Panther's commitment to this program that allowed us to do that, go out and secure that order. And we were able to put that together. If it were to be bigger than we expected, we have our own upgrades that we plan on doing. But again, our commitment is that if people show up and have earned the right to finance, that they take priority. So we'll slow down our own company upgrades and allow people the opportunity to own. And that's our commitment to the market. That's our commitment to David and his team, that we're not going to put our needs in front of theirs. And so I don't see an equipment shortage for what we're doing here for the next multiple months throughout 2023. I really don't.
That's excellent news, and also news in terms of what folks hear often. In otherwise hearing that there might be quite a wait, that it's pushed way out, etc. David, can I hear you now?
I did like something I heard Jason say as I was frantically grabbing wires.
Sure.
About churn in the program and turnover and how bad that is for all of us. And I just want to recircle and hit on that point that stability in our capacity is key for us to provide reliability to our customer base. And our shippers, our partners, will not trust us with their most critical needs unless we are reliable. We offer reliable services. So it is in all of our best interest to keep the truck seated, keep them running, keep them healthy, keep them profitable. And one thing I also love about what Jason and ES can provide is, everybody's looking for a deal, something. And we mentioned he's able to, secure discounts. I mean, try going to any lot today and buy something that's not at sticker or over sticker. Who can give a deal to, our friends and family in this industry, in the trucking industry, and that's Jason and his team and Expediter. So I love that. I love what they're able to provide. And I love that our focus is on providing the reliability, to these folks that participate in this program.
Fun fact, I was looking for a car last year, and the very first dealer that I went to, there was some sort of added price, and I don't remember the term they used for it, but it was to the tune of $10,000, and this is for a small family vehicle. And I said, what is this? And they were like, it's basically, because it's in demand, we're going to charge an extra $10,000. And I laughed right at the guy, inadvertently, but just laughed out loud. And that was the end of our conversation. Did not buy, but to your point, it's really a big deal to have relationships, and back to your point earlier, David, about trust. I would imagine trust in the partnership with both ES and ArcBest is also a big reason why dealers are willing to allocate the right amount of equipment to the program.
You're right, because of those long-term relationships that Jason and ES has developed and ArcBest has developed. The same thing with our capacity partners, our independent owner operators, that work with us. Long-term relationships is what makes us successful and will make all of us successful. Not the dealership, like you mentioned, that may take advantage of the here and now. We're in this for the long haul, and so we want people to be successful and achieve their dream of being a successful small business owner.
Very good. Well, we've had a question come in, so I'd just like to touch briefly on, in terms of the opportunities available. We certainly do work with teams, right? And there are also solo opportunities between the two of you. Might we just touch on the types of work available to folks?
So as far as trucks, we do have trucks for both solos, set up for solos and teams. We do have both new and some lightly used trucks, or some used trucks that we can utilize depending on the person and what they're looking for and the application that they're going to be putting it into. So from a financial standpoint, yes, we can accommodate any and all. And again, these are long-term commitments. None of these are walkaways, by the way. And what I would reiterate, even though I think we're going to have plenty of equipment, everybody knows shops, you're backed up. So timing's everything. So we could have, people come in and say, hey, I want a truck today. We say, that's great. Now let's work you through the system. And it might take us, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to put that truck into place, because we don't want to just have trucks sitting on the sideline that are costing us money or not being utilized. But so I do want to asterisk, I think we're going to have plenty of equipment for solos or teams, but timing is everything. And we just have to make sure we walk everybody through the timing of it so that all that comes together correctly.
Okay. Before we move on, I just want to check in with the two of you because we are in and out, and I just want to make sure we covered everything in terms of the market, in terms of equipment availability and options. Have we covered all of your key components on those items before I move forward?
Well, Leah, I'll chime in here since
Sure.
you open it up. And, Jason, mentioned this a bit when he said it depends on what they're looking for. And, I saw in the chat, somebody's looking for a solo opportunity in this program. And when you call, the Panther team, some of the first questions we'll ask is, what are you looking for, a team or a solo? Are you looking to, run coast to coast? Are you looking to stay more regional? You want the same lane back and forth? You looking to get into more of a life science type of area and pharmaceuticals? What are you looking for? What will make you happy? What do you want to do consistently, during the life of this lease? And we'll make that work for you. We can find the right spot. And we can do that because of our multitude of relationships and our, the freight flow that's out there and the customer base we have. And so that only works when you're positioned in the right spot with the right equipment and the right deal. And that's what I love about this partnership in this program.
Excellent. Jason, anything else from you before I move on?
Yeah, the only thing I would say is I would encourage people. So this is me putting on my strictly ES hat and trying to start a business. So I've started multiple efforts. I've failed at some and been successful at some. And what I would encourage people to do is don't try to order everything exactly the way you have to have it. And what I mean by that is, if your idea is I'm only willing to do this if it fits in this box, that becomes very difficult to operate. Even if it looks like that today, a business has to be nimble. It has to move. You change what you're doing based upon the market. For ArcBest, I'm sure their customers change on different markets, or their volumes. Are you running more LTL or dedicated or expedite or truckload or whatever that air freight, whatever it is service they're providing. So what I would encourage people to do is look at the opportunity. And if I was going to start a business, and I have, and this is the way I look at business opportunity, it's what's profitable. And then I turn around and say, okay, now does that match my quality of life? But if you start off with my quality of life has to be met first, you might find yourself doing something that's not profitable. So I would always encourage people to be nimble. It needs to marry your quality of life. It needs to marry up with your quality of life. It needs to match what you and your family can sustain. These are not walkaways. So these are 3, 4, 5-year commitments. You need the stability. We need the stability. But I do know when people ask me in my own business, what will y'all be doing 2 years from now? The question is, well, we'll see. Because we're going to do whatever the client needs us to do. We're going to do within reason whatever we have to do to service our client, whatever that is. That's how this program got started. David and his team asked a question. The market had a need. You try something, you bait it, it proves to be profitable, you do it. So I would just encourage people, it really has to be, do you want to own your own business? Do you want to really go out there and be successful as a business owner? If the answer is yes, call in and say, what do y'all have to offer? And then out of all those opportunities, marry that up to your quality of life. But by all means, look at the profitability of it. Don't try to force something into a box. When we think about freight cycles, Leah, some of that is, if you're a big company, freight cycles can affect you because you're up there, you're taking in the waves at the top of the ocean and you feel them because you go all the way to the bottom. When you're one person, one truck, if you position yourself and you're nimble, if expediting slows down, they'll move you to dedicated. If dedicated's not right, they'll move you to truckload. If that's not right, they'll move you somewhere. I mean, they have so many options if you'll be nimble. What I find is that our very best operators do well on every market. Our marginal operators can get hammered in off markets because they're not nimble. They're not willing to do things on the market. They will only do what they want to do. And therefore they don't treat the shipper, the receiver, the motor carrier, ArcBest, Panther as a customer. They want to dictate the relationship. And that is a terrible way to run a business. And that's part of that non-traditional. This is not you being an employee for somebody or you being told what to do. This is people saying, we have opportunity. Will you come in and help service this community? And with that attitude, I'm just telling you, we don't have people fail. People do not fail who are nimble and working at it. They just don't fail.
So by nimble, you also mean agility. And it reminds me that when I was coaching drivers of all types in my past life, I used to say the narrower their box became of what they were willing to do, the narrower the parameters. I would say, stop telling me what you can't do and tell me what you can do. You think folks should really be open in terms of the opportunities. David, in terms of agility, anything to add?
No, I love that. Jason hit it well. You don't want to be adding constraints to minimize what you're willing to do as a small business owner. If you're in the industry, you've been doing it, you're probably a hard worker anyway. And that's what you definitely need to be successful is, take loads and moving forward. And, not like, well, I don't want to drive uphill on Wednesdays or, in the rain and things like that. Hard workers will be successful. And, I love lease purchase because, that concept of building equity. And that's what I really love, for the folks in this program. They're building some wealth, they're building some equity in their truck versus, maybe an example would be renting an apartment.
I was just going to say making rental payments.
Yeah, then you leave the rental house and what do you have? You don't have anything. But I want you to build something in this program. I want you to have something. And, again, it's a beautiful part of this program, but you're right. Jason's right. You have to work for it. You have to, just like you do right now and whatever job you're doing now, you got to work hard and good things will happen.
Well, a very fine question came in from one of our attendees. And it says, how can you help me grow my business? I have all the paperwork. How can you help me grow my trucking business specifically? So I would put that before the two of you because I think it's a fabulous question. Expansion and growing in all ways is certainly a great question to ask the two of you.
Well, Leah, just to jump in, I would say, it depends on what they're doing now. If they're currently operating in the open market and they need if they're operating as under their own motor carrier authority, they need to look and realize that, the sky is falling on rates and the sky is falling on capacity out there on those load boards. They may need a safe haven to operate underneath. And you ought to look at ArcBest Panther to say, hey, can I come and lease my trucks to you and get, stabilized freight and rates to operate in this market? So that's one side of it. So what are you trying to grow? Are you trying to grow the freight opportunity? The flip side of that, if it's the asset side, sometimes we find the best way to grow is to upgrade your equipment. If your R&M is through the roof and you're spending half your time in the shops, you can sometimes double, triple your profit by simply having a better piece of equipment or even a smaller fleet. So when people say, I want to grow, I'm assuming at the end of the day, you want to grow profits. And if you want to grow profits, there's multiple ways of attacking that question. And any business will look at that. Do I grow margins? Do I grow gross revenue? Do I grow fleet size? Or do I simply upgrade the existing trucks I have? So with all that being said, there's no way to answer that other than encouraging the individual, call Panther, see what they have to offer. Call into ES, see what we have to offer and say, can we offer you a better option and maybe even a different thought of what you consider growth? And it's the conversation. If I could share anything with folks, Leah, I would say that I don't like making decisions in a group of yes people. If I'm the only one in the room or if the people in the room with me naturally agree with me, it makes me very nervous. I always like a decision made after a good argument where people have opposing ideas, their own thoughts, their own experiences, and I get to piggyback off their experiences to help make my decision better. And as much as anything that this partnership will offer you, you get to talk to a $5 billion company. I mean, that is hard to believe. But one guy, when you call in, I'm telling you, David and his team will share the experience of a $5 billion company with you. Where are you going to get that? You call into ES, we will share experience with people who finance tens of millions of dollars of equipment a year and tell you what we're seeing on this market, in this opportunity, and what you need to be thinking about across multiple levels, not just freight and rates. So that conversation drives stability, growth opportunity, profitability. There's no way to re-engineer that synergy or the energy that comes out of that kind of conversation. And that's as big a piece of this puzzle as anything.
Equipment growth was key in their question, along with just growth in general. So on the subject of equipment, Jason, can you just touch on warranty, et cetera, for that peace of mind?
Yeah, so we put extended warranties on it. So we have negotiated not just the factory warranty, but also extended warranties to try to keep R&M down to a minimum. We've turned around and taken the truck purchases, both inside of, Dobbs Peterbilt, the PACCAR product, and Stoops Freightliner, so the Freightliner product, and then negotiated nationwide discounts in shops to drive down when there is shop time outside of warranty items. We can keep the cost down there. So the intention is to get somebody a year or two into that cycle for sure before they're seeing R&M go up. By that time, you ought to have a good feel, and you should also be thinking about your next truck. If you're running trucks, 4, 5, 6 years out there, maybe that's a good decision. I would tell you most of the time it's not. And there's reasons to upgrade equipment beyond just you liking the truck or whether or not it's it's a trustworthy truck. There's tax advantages, depreciation, things like that. All of that comes into that conversation.
David, another question that came in was related to the types of work. And I know you touched on this earlier, but if I were to sum up, having worked with a lot of your recruiting teams in the past, they've said essentially, if you want it, we've got it. So can you just touch again on the breadth of availability being in partnership with Panther?
Yes, Leah, great question. I love that quote, if you want it, we've got it, which is very true. And a key conversation you'll have with the team, as folks interested in the program are calling in, as they'll be asked, where do you want to run? You run the country? Do you want to run coast to coast? Do you just want to run as many miles? Do you want to get into more of a specialty type of business, like life science, as I mentioned before, pharmaceuticals, or some of our, a lot of different other, in our elite market, different other services we provide. Jason touched on, our ability to position you in a dedicated lane. And so really as a team, solo, dedicated, maximizing your miles, or if you want to change it from month to month, really there's so much flexibility. And, when you come on, you're assigned a fleet supervisor to have those conversations with, hey, I wanted to drive this, it's not working out for me. Is there anywhere else I can go? And we'll position you in a way to make you successful. So it's what you want, what will make you successful, and we'll work together to get you in the right place. And, again, also Jason's earlier question too about, helping make people successful business owners. And that's a great question. I love the thought, whoever asked that. There's so many different benefits to this program, or just working, with Panther and with ES aside from this program. But you want to think about, reducing your cost, reducing your risk profile. If you're, looking at bid boards right now, are they drying up? Where can I get some sustainable business flow? Even the aspect of looking for the business. Don't you want to be fed business versus actively looking for it? So improving efficiency, reducing costs, reducing risk, all those things a business owner should be looking at. And all those are great conversations that we can have together.
These next two, I'm going to ask you to be quick because I'm looking at the time, but they're really key for us to touch on because they're important to me. One is in terms of our attendees, a very frequently asked question that we get, Jason, is about a credit check. And so if you could just touch briefly on non-traditional financing, I think the quick answer is that you will run a credit check, but what are the elements that you look at in terms of financing a small business owner so that they can become a new owner operator?
Sure. So our credit box is really, we're looking for commitment, and we're looking for your ability to be stable inside of that decision. So we want to make sure that what we're offering you fits your lifestyle and that it gives you the profits you're looking for. That is really our credit box. Are there some things that, knock you out? Yes, we need tax returns. There's things like that we need to see in order to protect the asset and the investment we make. Again, we're making an investment into this individual, but we can work with most anybody as long as they bring a work ethic and a good attitude to the table and that they want to service the customer. If they'll bring a customer service attitude and a work ethic, most things we can work through. And we're aggressive with it. And again, because of the partnership we have with ArcBest, we're confident making that investment because we know they're going to be operating in a very stable freight and rate environment. So that allows us to take that question mark off the table.
Okay. The other question that I wanted to put in front of you, really in front of both of you, is as the resident women on the panel today, and also how I met Jason, was both of us serving on the board of directors of the Women in Trucking Association when Expediter Services began a partnership and a challenge essentially to help finance. And when I say help, I mean to finance and help build women-owned businesses in the trucking industry. And you've surpassed 150 women-owned businesses and made a long-term commitment to continuing to finance women. We also see a lot of minorities have the opportunity to get financed and become small business owners because of the elements that you were just discussing, that it's not solely based on a credit check. And so just in terms of the women, can we just touch on that? I mean, ArcBest, of course, is run by a woman. I own my small women-owned business, and we've got women in the audience today. So the opportunity for women, and just if you want to touch on that for us.
You want to take that, David?
Well, I love the question because you mentioned our leader, is a woman in Judy McReynolds, a fantastic leader for organization. And that trickles down, and you see it in how we interact with our local communities and how we hire and staff our teams. Such a large majority of our owner operators are actually, women drivers, women truckers. So the whole concept of women in trucking is fantastic. A lot of our leaders in this campus, attend women in trucking events, which we're really proud to support. And, there's opportunities to anyone, hardworking, safe drivers out there. Opportunities exist right now with us in this market today.
Excellent. Well, certainly very glad to have had both of you on with me today. I'm going to give each of you the opportunity for a final and brief thought. Mr. Williams.
Well, again, we just would like to engage anybody looking to come into the industry. It always hurts my feelings, Leah, when I see people come to us and they've been through 2 or 3 failures and they were set up to fail to begin with. And so this is our effort to get in front of the market, whether they're coming out of driver school or whether they're just now looking into the industry. Of course, you've educated us, through your information that trucking is normally a 3rd, 4th, 5th career choice for people. So we just want to wave a flag and say, hey, look, we may not be for everybody, but we think that we have the best opportunity and we're not bashful about it in the marketplace. We think this offers the absolute best environment for somebody to come in and start a small business and know they can be successful on into the future. And then what we bring to the table on the financing side of it, it's we're confident that we can hold up our end of the bargain. So by all means, call us, talk to us. Our people would love to spend time, go into more details, and we think we have something to offer you.
David, I'm going to offer you the same opportunity, and I will tell you that we have supplied your team's contact info, the direct web quick app, so that they can be contacted by your team. But in addition to that, any final thoughts from you, sir?
No, thank you for having us. I love this conversation. I'm glad you put that information in the chat. I see it there. It looks great. Hopefully those listening who are interested, click on it, call, and have a good conversation with our team. But, the power of ArcBest is through our integrated solutions and what we can provide, shippers. And, those integrated solutions would not be possible without, capacity sources like our owner operators, like you'd be if you come through this lease purchase program. And people are at the heart of the success of ArcBest, a 100-year-old organization celebrating this year, which is phenomenal. But from the very beginning till now, people have always been the heart of our success. And again, that's why I love this program, because it's people-based, it's trust-based, and it's with an outstanding partner like Jason and the ES team. So excited to talk to those of your listeners who can reach out to us, and hopefully we can make some dreams come true with some budding small business owners.
Excellent. Well, we're going to put a slide up here on how you can get in touch. In the new year of 2023, it is all about you and your new business, making more, saving more, having more. Now's the time, and this is the place. I took that line from David, to start your own trucking business. I want to thank you for attending. If you're not currently in touch with us, there are a variety of ways here that you can be. And in addition, by registering with us today, of course, we'll remind you of our next Insight series coming up. I can tell you already, I know it's on Valentine's Day. So if you don't already have plans, I hope you'll join me right here for the next in the Insight series. Continuing, it's all about you and Panther. We hope you'll take the time to join the ES community in a variety of ways. Get in touch, stay in touch, And in the meantime, stay safe, well, and connected, as with ES, you never stand alone. Have a good one, everyone.